Television Advisory Board Committee Franchise Renewal Subcommittee meeting. As chair of the Cable Television Advisory Board, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone with accessible access possibilities by video and other electronic means. We are utilizing Zoom through the city's IT department for this electronic meeting. All members of the Cable Television Advisory Board and the public have access to contemporaneously listen to this meeting through dialing into the following numbers. All right. 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 849-5727-8864. The passcode is 022855. Once again, that number is 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID 849-5727-8864. The passcode is 022855. The public may also view this meeting on channel, Comcast channel 16. We have previously given notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have been provided on the City of Nashua's website at nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at Nashua City Hall and Nashua Public Library. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 16, please call 603-821-2049. Once again, that number is 603-821-2049, and they will help you connect. In the event that the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned above, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all meetings have, that all votes that are taken during the meeting shall be done by roll call. Let's start the meeting with the roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, the reason that they are not able to attend the meeting in person, please also state that if there's anyone in the room with you during this meeting as it's required by the right to know law. Also, we ask that everyone, when they are speaking during the meeting, that they please identify themselves to help the transcriptionist. So we'll begin with the roll call. All right, Andrew Sonoda is here. And I am social distancing and I'm alone in my office. Cheryl Lindner called me earlier. She's going to be a few minutes late. She's on another call right now. Attorney Bolton.
I'm present, social distancing, alone in my office, and I hear the proceedings.
Alderman Jetty.
I'm here, I'm home alone because of the pandemic, and I can hear the proceedings.
Ms. Kleiner.
I'm here, I am socially distancing in my office, and I can hear the proceedings.
Mr. Painter.
Jeff Painter, I am here, I am social distancing, and I am alone and in my office at my home.
Mr. Johnson.
Pete Johnson, I'm alone. I am at home, social distancing.
Mr. Miserovich.
Nick Miserovich, I am present. I can hear the proceedings. I am alone and I am social distancing.
And I don't believe we have Mr. Morgan with us. So, all right. Ms. Kleiner, would you like to give us an update on your communications with Mr. Christensen?
Good morning. I forwarded an email that I received late on, I believe it was received late on Friday. The email did contain the Nashua locations that have access to Comcast, i.e. the little black boxes that we commonly refer to. When I spoke with Mr. Christensen, he indicated that that's the list to the best of their knowledge. If the city had moved them, they may not be aware of that, and that many locations have multiple boxes, so they're not exactly where in each location those boxes would be. For example, what offices or the other was the map, the coverage map, which the committee had requested. He also indicated when I spoke to him that the entire city has access, except for one small area of Farley Road out by Hollis, which is covered by a charter.
Okay.
He did indicate that they have not done their franchise survey yet. But when they do, they're happy to share the results. He said they are behind on their franchise work, and they are still dealing with franchise agreements that expire in 2021. So they are focusing on those, but he is happy to join the committee at any meeting that we would like him to.
Thank you.
He did indicate that they have not done an audit of the franchise fees. When the city receives those franchise fees, we get a statement, although that statement is marked confidential due to trade secrets. So I've asked for more information that can be shared with the public.
Thank you.
We asked about a list of channels added and deleted. They don't keep a comprehensive list, but as we all know, the city receives notice both to the mayor and to IT when subscribers are notified that a channel has been added, dropped, or moved, and that's in accordance with law. Their list of subscribers cannot be shared with any governmental agency. That is proprietary. And a list of city properties using Comcast, that's included in the document that he sent of national locations. I do think that it would be, after speaking with Mr. Christensen, I think it would be worthy to have Mr. Christensen join a committee meeting so members may ask him directly. They are working remotely, but he is certainly willing to come forward, and we're happy to arrange that for you if you wish. It's our conversation.
Right. Does anyone have any questions regarding the conversation? Alderman Chetty?
Yeah, yeah, I have a couple of questions. I don't know how appropriate these questions are, but I think you said that regarding the franchise fees, the money that we get, that there has been no audit, and I think you said that you may have said this about some other part of it, but you said something about the information being subject to, they weren't going to tell us because it's protected by trade secrets. And then you mentioned the subscriber list was protected by, and it was proprietary. So my question is, how do we know how much money they're getting from the subscribers And how do we know we're getting our 4%?
Mr. Chair, Kim Kleiner, excellent questions. The city receives statements when we receive a payment. So the city can verify that. The information, those statements are marked confidential trade secrets. That's information that I have asked Mr. Christensen if it can be shared, since it's well marked. So I'm waiting for that response, but we can, the city financial services, can verify that amount. I'm not surprised about the list of subscribers and that being proprietary. I expected that response. The fact that there's no audit of the franchise fee on their end does not surprise me either. Although I would assume that they are being audited, that their financials are audited. And he didn't indicate if the franchise fees are included in that. But that's certainly a question that he could check with Comcast. I mean, I would believe that their financials are audited regularly.
Alderman Jettie here. So do you feel, I don't know, does everyone feel that, or do you feel that, that we're getting our fair share, that we're getting our 4%, and you feel confident that that's accurate? There's no reason to suspect that they're withholding anything.
Kim Kleiner, from the revenues that they have shared with us, I believe that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions with regard to the Comcast information? Mr. Painter.
Well, Jeff Painter, I know one thing. I will go through this list of the drops, because now that we have what they believe to be the list, then I can find out if this is true, if everything that they think is there is there. And I've got our original list, so I'll just go down the list and contact them and make sure that is the reality.
Okay. Ms. Kleiner.
Interestingly enough, Mr. Christensen indicated that he would start redlining the franchise agreement, in that although he's working on their 2021 franchises, he hoped to have that available to us this month, June.
Okay. He
also indicated that one of his recommendations would be that we request an HD channel for our PIC channels. That was one of the requests or one of the suggestions that he would make. And we hadn't had any of that conversation. So I wanted to put that out there.
I think a few of us had sort of discussed it as a possibility in the background, but until we'd done the fact finding, I don't know that we'd progress to that, but interesting he's making the suggestion.
We could agree to accept it, yeah.
Yes. Unless they decide to charge us for the channels.
Yeah, Alderman Jettie here. That would be my comment. If we have to pay anything, I'm not sure that our citizens would be willing to pay in order to see our faces in greater detail.
I'm thinking there might even be a revenue stream for the city for members of the Board of Aldermen and for other boards, maybe even this one, if we could have lower definition for some meetings. pay into a kitty for it. So, Ms. Kleiner.
Kim Kleiner, so I agree with that. But I think that when you're looking at Channel 99, and Mr. Johnson and I had spoken, and he had a excellent point that the games, like the football games and things like that, those would definitely be better in high def. And there are some parents and grandparents, families that may enjoy that.
All right. Not necessarily related to the Mr. Christensen discussion, but do we have a sense as far as how many responses we've received to the survey? Ms. Kleiner?
So we do not. I will definitely have an update for our next meeting. I will say that there seems like there was some hiccup, and the link that was published in the Telegraph was incorrect. You know, so I think figuring out how we can push it more and understanding the chairman was on several of the mayor's meetings. But looking at how we can push that out more may be helpful.
Okay. I'm sure that any of us that are on social media probably will be pushing that out through that mechanism. I see that Ms. Lindner has joined us.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry for being late. I had another call.
It's any other issues that folks would like to address while we're meeting? Well,
Mr.
that said,
Chairman,
Alderman Jettie.
Alderman, yeah. So where do we stand with Attorney Bolton's exploration of whether law firms, there were two law firms that he was investigating as to whether they would, whether it would be worthwhile for us to look at whether they could provide any assistance and whether that would be worth any expense that might be.
Attorney Bolton, would you like to address that?
Yeah, I think I sent you all the proposal we got from Massachusetts firm. I expected to get a proposal from Donahue, Tucker, and Shadella. I have not received that, so I don't know whether they have lost interest, are too busy, or still intend to send that along. I can give Attorney O'Donnell another call and see if I can get an answer to that.
Ms. Kleiner?
Kim Kleiner, so I will say there's been a lot of discussion around franchise agreements with the Municipal Managers Association of New Hampshire. Many of the smaller towns, for obvious reasons, suggest using a lawyer or an outside firm even for renewals. And certainly the names that Corporation Counsel has given us, those names are very familiar, and they've come up over and over with very high recommendations, including dairy. So I think as far as some of the smaller municipalities and towns, they feel that it does provide some service and expertise in an area where they may not have it on staff. And that seems to be the general consensus that we're seeing through that association.
Alderman Jettie.
Yes, the other thought that crossed my mind is when Ms. Kleiner talked about Comcast being preoccupied, for lack of a better word, with franchise agreements elsewhere coming up before ours. So I'm wondering if there's, a bunch of other communities, in New Hampshire and Massachusetts that are going through this, that we could talk to and find out from them, whether they've been able to get concessions from Comcast and what they might have been. Mr. Christensen suggested, HD. How did have they done that? Did it cost anything? And are there any other things that they were able to get? I don't know how you would get that, find out who they are and how you get that information, but that thought crossed my mind. A source of free information.
Ms. Kleiner.
It's often, Kim Kleiner, it's often that the various municipalities do speak. So shortly before Manchester was going through their renewal, they reached out to us and to the mayor's office, and we discussed, things that we had received and how our process had gone. I did reach out to them because they successfully negotiated a renewal, and we have their document, and I can send that out to the committee. We will, both Ms. Lindner and I are members of the municipal association, so we'll watch as this topic develops, and as there's more conversation around it, but it does, people are giving us their basics, what their franchise rates are, and what they have requested. So that information will be generally shared.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Alderman
Mr.
Jettie.
Chairman, Alderman Jettie again. Yeah, the other thought is, I think that I'm correct in this. I think that we, whatever money we spend on our local access TV, that all comes from a fund that is generated or funded by the money we get from Comcast. Is there, I can't remember. I know we get monthly reports from Mr. Painter. Is there enough money there that would, if we did hire a law firm, would we be able to pay for that out of that fund? Is there enough money there for that purpose? And so that's my question.
Mr. Painter.
Well, I'm not sure where that it would be coming out of our capital improvements, because that would be where it would, I can't see it coming out of there. I don't know. We've got a lot of stuff to do. That's just my feeling. Pete, anything?
As far as our budget is concerned, there's no real line item in the budget for legal fees. I've been the one sort of promoting that we, utilize a lawyer and believe that it, could be beneficial for us, and making sure that the financial audit that they provide, looks accurate. I don't know that we have anybody on staff that, can look at that and determine that, yes, you're getting, the franchise fees on pay-per-views and all of the other, things that are cable related that may not be, you know, the exact cable television fees, or what they're providing for in terms of the triple play that they sell with, you know, cable, internet, and telephone. How much of that is broken out to be and part of that franchise fee. And I think that's where you can get some beneficial, you know, time from lawyers that are set up to do this on a regular basis, and sort of know what they're looking for and what the city may be able to ask for, you know, in franchise renegotiations.
I think if we're worried about the Steve Bolton, I think if we're worried about making sure that the franchise fee payments are correct, we'd be better off hiring a CPA firm to do an audit. I do not think that's the expertise of lawyers. I think
I would agree, Pete Johnson. I would agree, and you know, as far as the CPAs are concerned, you're correct. But you know, they do know what they're looking for and what questions to ask. So that's where I was coming from, not specifically looking at the numbers, but making sure that we're getting revenue from certain areas that are cable related. You know,
Ms. Kleiner?
they talked about we've been getting this form. I've never seen one in 10 years that I've been with the city. You know, the check just sort of comes in, as far as I knew. It's first I've heard that there was a information that came with it. So
I think probably the nature of it would is that it's closely held. Ms. Kleiner?
Kim Kleiner, that's correct. So certainly if you're looking at revenue streams, and you can somewhat determine from the statements, the revenue streams that are included. Again, this is revenue provided by Comcast. So these numbers are provided from them. To do an audit, you would really need to prove those numbers, and that's, I do not believe, available to us through Comcast. And I totally agree with Corporation Counsel that that would take a CPA, that would take a firm to do that. As far as the PEG access channel budget, there is no real line item for legal services. And we did just give our update to the budget committee last week. The only real area that you have to spend any other funds that aren't already committed would be capital improvements, which is for equipment and things of that sort, governed by CTAB. So I don't think that this budget would be one that could pay for such legal fees, unfortunately. Not to say that we couldn't go back and speak with the administration and see where those funds would be available.
So Alderman Petty. So you know, hearing all of that, I guess if we're going to decide to hire a law firm, then I guess we ought to decide that pretty quickly so that we can get the money to pay for it.
See, we're all eager to jump into the conversation.
I could ask Attorney Bolton. This is Pete Johnson. Do you think any of these law firms would be willing to work on an hourly basis to answer some of the questions that we may have, and not necessarily take over the whole process, but when we had a question that might require somebody else's expertise, if we could do that with them on an hourly basis, as opposed to, you know, saying we're going to pay 15,000 or whatever would happen to be for them to come on board with us.
I think either of these two firms that we've been discussing would do that. I think I was going to say danger, but I don't think that's the right word. I think it's easy to get into a situation where you're running up charges more than you think. You know, what may seem like a simple question to us, when you find out it has engendered 5 or 6 hours of research and some correspondence back and forth with us, perhaps with Comcast, and you find out that that $250 an hour, 8 hours, and now it's $2,000, and that's this month. And you know, by the time a year goes by, you find out you've spent real money. So if we do that, we may want to have some control over what is asked, who gets to ask, and exactly what we expect the law firm to do. It's often the resulting expenditure is higher than you were thinking it would be.
Thank you for the answer. Appreciate it.
For that matter, even if participating in meetings, even if they're sitting there not saying anything, they're charging. So, Alderman Jettie.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, even though I'm on the budget committee, I'm not the budget expert in this group. So Ms. Kleiner, if we, you know, do we need to identify, you know, where we would get the money to pay for these lawyers, you know, before we you know, we talk about engaging them? You know, when you said that there's nothing in our budget to pay for lawyers, then my question is, you know, don't we have to, you know, find a source of money before we do so? And if that's the case, you know, would you be the one to talk to the administration about where that money might come from? And, you know, or, you know, I suppose we could, you know, we could go back to, you know, the budget committee. I mean, you know, on the budget committee, we're just, you know, starting the review. You know, we have reviewed, you know, the cable TV advisory committee's advisory board's budget, but that doesn't, you know, nothing's been decided. You know, we could always, you know, go back and you know, amend that request. You know, but I guess we'd have to do that in conjunction with the mayor. I'm not sure, but so so could you enlighten us on that topic?
Kim Kleiner. So I think the subcommittee could make a request. And certainly, yes, we would speak to the mayor and the administration regarding the use of funds, and then there would have to be more conversation by corporation counsel with these these firms, and then if there was a contract that needed to be negotiated, that would have to follow the city ordinance's normal process. But I don't think that the subcommittee here needs to have a source of funds or is making any motion about any funds being expended. I think we'd make the request for the funds from the administration. Since we're not dealing with CTAB funds, I don't even think it would be a vote of the CTAB committee to do such. So I think the request could be made if the committee feels strongly enough. And then we would certainly have the conversation with the administration about where funds could be found. Having said that, my own personal opinion is that I think we have staff in the Office of the Corporation Counsel, which does have certainly a lot of expertise in contracts, and both with Attorney Bolton, but also with Attorney Leonard, who I understand worked on the last agreement. So I just have some pause on where we think we might be getting enough value to really justify hiring an outside legal firm. Just my 2 cents.
Said it's the same general thought that I've been having as well. Alderman Jettie?
Yeah, so, you know, I guess I'm a little biased, but I guess I would be one of the last people to say that we shouldn't, you know, take advantage of the expertise of lawyers to help us in this regard. Maybe Attorney Bolton, or maybe we could have one of these law firms. Maybe they'd be willing to talk to us and kind of explain to us why they think their expertise would be of value, and what kinds of things they think that that their services would be advantageous to us, and then we could at least hear what they've got to say before we decide. And I guess we're waiting for more information from the New Hampshire firm anyway, so maybe we obviously we need more information before we make a decision, I think.
Right. Anything else as far as general discussion of the franchise renewal? Anyone? All right. If not, is there a final motion? Mr. Painter?
I'll do it. A motion to adjourn.
All right, there's a motion to adjourn. Let's get the roll call list. There's no discussion of that motion, so Andrew Sonoda votes in the affirmative. Ms. Linder?
Yes.
Attorney Bolton?
Yes.
Alderman Jettie?
Yes.
Ms. Kleiner?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Mizraevich?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Morgan is still not here, so motion passes. All right, well, we'll be seeing everyone. Let's see, what's our next scheduled meeting?
A couple of weeks. Is that
And we're around the 14th, 15th.
Well, we still actually have one scheduled for next week on the 8th. We probably, unless we have something specific to discuss, then we might actually wish to reschedule that one for a future point. And of course, we have the full CTAB meeting on the 11th. So.
Chairman, I believe we had talked about going to every other week unless needed. I don't know if you were here that meeting or not, but
I think I was, but as I say, I think this one, at least it's still on my calendar from the calendar invite. So
okay.
Again, we might be nixing that one anyway, but certainly on the 11th, we'll be seeing everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.